Okay, so welcome to this podcast, this special Halloween podcast. So we're actually going to put up the Halloween night to scare everybody. So I thought it'd be quite good to talk about The Shining, because The Shining is one of those classic horror movies. It's also a lot more than horror. I mean, it's a horror movie, but it's also a lot more going on with it, really, than a typical horror movie. So I thought it'd be quite good to talk to two people who are big fans of Kubrick and The Shining, especially SJS, who will quote it at the drop of a hat. Right, SJS?
Yeah. Little pigs, let me come in.
Yeah. So you two did on your podcast, Folgers and Ashes. I better introduce you, actually. There's Isaac and there's SJS Films. I'm not going to try to pronounce your name because I will butcher it, unless you want to laugh. But yeah, so we're a fine range of people here. If you look at my background, you can see my chair coming back and forth like a ghost. Yeah, I'm quite pleased that when I spotted it earlier on, I thought I'm leaving that and it's perfect for The Shining.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no. So The Shining is just a beautiful film. So what was the first time you both saw The Shining? What was your first experience of it?
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So I had this older friend when I was in elementary school. I was like 10 years old, and he wanted to show the film to me. And before seeing it, I thought that it would be like one of those horror films that there would be many murders in the film, and I was just looking forward to seeing Jack Nicholson killing everyone with the axe. But then in the end, it's more of a psychological thriller horror film, so I was kind of disappointed when I first saw it, but I was so young. I was only 10 years old, so yeah.
Yeah, so you're basically expecting Texas Chainsaw Massacre, really.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. What about you, Isaac?
Well, before I even saw it, because it's like, we can talk about this later on, but it's so ingrained in like pop culture. So I saw it like through it like references. So like in The Simpsons, Treehouse of Horror. That's what I used to watch that a bunch as a kid. So in one of the episodes, they like parodied The Shining. So I'd watched that a bunch as a kid before I even saw the film. And I was about 12, I think. I saw The Shining the first time. I think because of the cover, I had a hard time convincing my parents to let me buy it. But one day they cracked, and I got to watch it.
Yeah, because you're a bit young for it.
Yeah.
I had to do the same thing with Terminator when I was a kid. First Terminator, I was like, honestly, I can take it. It's fine. It's an 18. It's fine.
And then, like, in the re-releases, it's like been lowered from an 18 to a 15, so that helped my case.
Yeah. Well, I saw it on TV. Like, I actually saw the American version on TV. They showed a mistake over here when the first show. Not in the first show, but no, I first saw it was probably the late 80s. So I was like about 15 or something when I first saw it. And it just creeped me the hell out. Like, instantly just creeped me out. Like, yeah, no, it's just one of those things. It's like, I don't know why I'm scared, but I'm scared. So I don't exactly know why. But there's something. I think because I saw it at a certain age, I wasn't expecting tons of murders. I was just waiting to see what it was. So I didn't have a massive expectation. I think when you watch it thinking, I don't know why. Something's getting to me. I don't know why. And halfway through the film, I turned around. I saw my cat looking through the window. It was out the back door. It was just something staring at me, and I was like, so that was a little bugger. But yeah, it really freaked me when I first saw it. So did it scare you when you saw it?
Well, I think because it was made fun of in like stuff like The Simpsons, I was so used to it in a comedic light. I didn't have like as bigger as an impact it could have had on me. So I was like disturbed by the atmosphere slightly, but I was mainly just in awe of Jack Nicholson's ravings.
Yeah. Is that all your copies behind you of The Shining?
I've got quite a few somehow.
You've picked them up. Yes.
Yeah.
You might be a bit of a fan.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. And SJS has this Jack Nicholson stare coming at us anyway, so that's
Yeah.
yeah. So SJS, when did you see it again after your first not so great introduction to it?
I was either 15 or 16, and that's the time when I fell in love with the film. And actually, then it was really scary for me in my mid-teens. But then when I had seen it like 5 or 6 times, then it turned into a black comedy for me. And now I just laugh my ass off when I see it. So,
yeah, it's hilarious. It's really funny, but it's also because it's a Kubrick film. Kubrick films are always funny. There's always some humor in them. I don't think he can not do it. He's always putting some. Even 2001 has funny jokes, even though they're very dry. He's still yeah. And the thing with the chicken, they're getting quite good at this. All that stuff. I think Kubrick loves bland talk. People talking very blandly, and he loves the kind of nuances of people not talking but not talking, which you get a lot in 2001, but especially get it a lot in Shining, where the manager and stuff, they're just talking, but it's just nonsense, really. But yeah, no, the comedy's really there. But yeah, I mean, I think you expect Jack Nicholson to be scarier. You expect him to be utterly terrifying. But he's funny because he's not very good at being a killer. Which is wonderful. I think it was wonderful with the film. For a film with a reputation of being a really scary film, the killer is kind of incompetent a lot of times. Like he's beat up his own wife.
He only kills like one person, doesn't he?
Yeah, he kills a person himself. He kills a person to come to rescue his family from him. But yeah, he's just not very good at it.
And in the premise, it's... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I rewatched the film earlier this week, and I kind of realized when he's going after Wendy and he's smashing that door, but then he hears the snowcat and the guy is coming from there, and then he kills him, but he should have stayed and killed Wendy first.
I know.
Because then he could have killed both of them, so yeah.
Yeah, but he's not a forward thinker, really. Yeah. But I mean, that's the charm of it because he's so flawed. Because I watched it again this week. I saw it in 4K for the first time and I was really impressed. That 4K transfer is beautiful. It's really gorgeous because it's just like all the details are there in the hotel. And it's a test case. If you got a 4K player, you must watch The Shining in 4K because it is absolutely beautiful in it. Just stunning transfer. They put the effort into it. But when I watched it again, I noticed that as well. That why did he stop and not kill his wife? It was like that would have been a lot easier. But you've got a bloodlust going, you have to follow it.
Yeah,
really.
Well, because he's like an alcoholic, so he follows his impulses.
Yeah, no, he's very little impulse control after a while. And one thing I noticed watching again, because I haven't seen it for a while, because I've watched it a lot for over years, and now that thing where after I've seen this film so many times, it's like I need to stop watching so I can still enjoy it. I have to kind of skip a break for a while.
I actually didn't watch it like this week in preparation. I saw it like a couple months ago, and I know it like I'm sure we all know the film inside out. So it's
Yeah, because I mean, some of the films I do with Ronan, sometimes if it's a director that I know, I'm not going to watch all the films again. I'm going to watch certain ones, but I'm not going to have to watch them all because I know them. But yeah, I hadn't seen it for so long, so I managed to rewatch. But I rewatched the longer American cut, which I hadn't seen for a while. Because I saw the American cut first, then I saw the British cut, then I saw the American cut last week. Like, which versions have you both seen?
We can talk about this, but I prefer the longer cut, save for one scene with the goofy skeletons. But that was with the premium collection, which is somewhere behind me. That's the one I always watch from now, so I'm very used to the longer cut. So that's the one I usually watch.
What SJS?
Yeah, I've seen the shorter cut 20 times, but the longer cut only once. So it's kind of unfair to compare them. So, but I saw the longer cut on the big screen a couple of years ago. So that was nice.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the longer version first. When I actually saw the film in the big screen for the first time, it was a shorter cut. And I actually saw it, was like, what the hell's going on? Because where's some of the scenes? Like, it was
every
just
time,
weird.
like the normal cuts on TV, because I'm so used to the longer cut, I'm like, oh, they've missed the film. Where's this bit? Yeah,
it was just weird. It's like, have I missed something? Because it's like, I prefer the longer cut, to be honest. I think it's paced better, and I think there's more of a flow, and I think the details are more there.
The only scene I really don't like is with when Wendy sees all the skeletons covered in cobwebs.
I know, but I think
taken out. That would be
Yeah, but I think it's fun for me, that bit, because it's obviously Kubrick mocking the genre a little bit, and he's having a bit of fun. The ghosts are fucking with her at that point. The ghosts are just messing with her and just showing them skeletons and just.
Well, even stuff like the bear costume, that's just messing around.
I know, that's just great. That's just
great
so
party, isn't it?
Yeah.
The guy. Yeah.
Yep. So, have you both seen it in the cinema then?
I've never actually seen it in the cinema. Like every year, obviously I think they're showing it like right now. I always miss out.
Yeah.
I think it's because I've seen it so many times that I go for something else.
Yeah, it's definitely worth seeing in the cinema.
I definitely will watch.
Yeah, I think one of the good things is it's one of the films that always gets re-released. Like when you get a new format, it's one of the first ones to do properly, because it's the Kubrick film, where it's a big famous film. So they always do re-releases and do remasters of it. It's always looking as best as it can be. It's one of those films that always gets a good transfer.
Yeah,
which is nice.
We talk about its reputation, which is humongous in today's world. Like everybody knows it. Like it's probably in like the 20 most iconic films, like along with Star Wars and stuff like that.
But it's always kind of been that way since even I was a kid. Like, because it came out in the 80s and I was born in the 70s.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Chris, I probably saw it in the cinema before you two were born.
Yeah, you did.
But even when I was a kid, it was like one of the iconic films from the early 80s, like Alien or The Thing. It was one of those films that everyone had seen, or you have to have seen this film. It was a film you wanted to see in video. It was like a film, I've got to see The Shine. There's no way I can avoid seeing this film.
But, on initial release, it famously bombed, and then Kubrick got nominated for Worst Director in the Razzie and everything.
Well,
so I wonder. Well, I didn't bomb, but it has an ill reputation from like critics. I wonder how long about like the window between it becoming iconic and some of the initial hate was.
It was in that same package of Blade Runner and The Thing. But that Thing is a film that was initially turned on that people liked. And you can't imagine a race that was kind of like, screw the critics, we love this film, sodges. And I think a lot of people felt that way. It was just like, why do you hate this film? This is great.
And all those films are basically like in succession of a couple of years, so a big few years for like blockbusters. So stuff goes like under the radar slightly to a mainstream viewer.
Yeah, I think it was the explosion of VHS that really helped that one, and Videodrome and The Thing. People just saw it and it was like, oh, this is great. And a lot of people missed it at the cinema. It was just like, and as soon as they saw Jack Nicholson's performance, it was like, well, this is really something. I mean, there's no way you could make a Batman film without him as a Joker after that film. There was just no way that was possible.
I think that even like in the marketing for the initial release, like the teaser trailer that Kubrick put together is like one of the best trailers ever. Like all the little cuts and everything.
Yeah, there's Kubrick was great at that kind of thing, like suggest a film that may or may not be the actual film he made.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I was watching Eyes Wide Shut recently, and it was like, that's nothing like the trailer, like at all. It's nothing to do with the trailer. He's just messing with you. And when you look at Clockwork Orange, all the advertising's based about the first half of the film.
Yeah,
it's nothing to do with the second half.
There's some conformity and all the social messages.
No. Yeah, no, it's just like completely different. I mean, I think Barry Lyndon was the one who couldn't market because it was all about
just
the
the
society.
period. It's alienating to the mainstream viewer.
Yeah, which is funny because that's one of my favourite films. But I can see why it couldn't be sold.
Yeah.
So, we just start talking through the film itself then, since we've talked about his reputation. Is that good for both of you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, it starts with those amazing shots of the landscape, which is just... I think it's just when you first see it, it's really creepy. It's like, something's up. Something's... Even before you get to the tail, something's wrong here. Kubrick
Especially
really...
the music definitely enhances it as well.
Yeah. It's just the lenses he uses. You see certain angles of certain things. It just feels like something's not right, but it's also something not right I don't understand because it's not the way a normal horror movie would start. A normal horror movie would be like darkness, and this one's a bit light. It's sort of telling you this is different from what you normally expect from a horror movie.
And like a testament to Kubrick is it would have obviously been shot by a second unit since he was horribly afraid of flying. So he must have dictated exactly what he wants and how it should be shot. Because it doesn't look like just some random second unit. It looks like it's been precisely mapped out.
Yeah, he probably did that, but he also hadn't shoot tons of stuff, and he chose the best stuff.
Yeah,
really.
Because they use it in Blade Runner as well, don't they?
Yeah.
Some of that stuff it use.
Yeah, when the family drives to the Overlook Hotel, then they go to that route again, and then you, from the beginning, you know that there's something off, like you said, and obviously they start talking about the cannibals and stuff that Danny saw on TV and stuff like that, so it's really creepy.
Yeah, one of the weird things watched it again was I noticed that a lot of the scenes with Jack Nicholson and the boy are all done in one take. They don't cut at all. They're just talking, and it's like, that's amazing to get a child to perform like that. And to talk to someone as good as Jack Nicholson and get that performance. It's quite stunning. Because I think...
There you go ahead.
I think when you look at the making of stuff, Leon Vitelli, who was one of his assistants, pretty much, because he was used to be an actor, he was the one who trained Daniel Lloyd to act in the film. And he would work with him all the time.
And like they really helped it because his name's Danny, which is the same as the character, so that must have helped. And obviously he didn't know that he was making a horror film, so they kept that a secret from him. So he does a really good job, and like he even came up with the Tony finger thing, which is creepy as hell in a horror film.
I know, it's just weird. Yeah. As soon as you see it, it's like it's identifiable though. People have imaginary friends and stuff. It's a perfect child thing, but somehow it's creepy, and it's just weird, and it's just wonderfully weird.
If we're gonna get into like the underlying themes, like some of the themes of like abuse between Jack and Danny, you could see it as him like dissociating, and so that makes it even like weirder.
Yeah, I know it is. It's just, but the thing, one thing I noticed was watching again is the dissociation comes with Jack as well. He dissociates really badly from the second half of the film. Really, he's gone. Yeah. But there's just so many just weird things. Don't know that first interview. It's just odd. It's an odd interview.
Well, yeah, the way like Barry Nelson like nonchalantly like tells him about the previous history of the hotel.
And it's not going to happen to me. Don't worry. He's a bit too cocky with that.
And even in those kind of normal scenes like that scene, like Jack Nicholson is so amazing, and his facial expressions are great even in those early scenes, I think.
Yeah. Also, like the fact that he's a bit of a prick in those scenes. He's condescending as hell, and he's trying to be polite. He's trying to be normal, but he can't do it. He's just not very good at it. He comes across as sneering and superficial, and it's just not him. And I think it's really wonderful because he's trying to interact with these people he doesn't really like that much.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Don't get the impression he doesn't like the manager much. He's just trying to brown nose to him a little bit.
And even then, you could like interpret it as he's already cracking out the seams, like from being like an alcoholic and suppressing everything. So the hotel is just a conduit for him to go crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he's hollowed out a little bit. The way a lot of alcoholics when they can't drink, a hollowed out feeling to them.
Yeah.
He's got that thing down pat, like he knows exactly what that kind of feeling is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it was well known that at the time Jack Nicholson was really into cocaine.
Yeah.
So maybe Kubrick found a stash and hid it until the scene was over.
I remember hearing like a podcast, like some Kubrick podcast, and they had someone who was like a driver who used to drive Jack Nicholson around London looking for like prostitutes. I don't know if it's true, but it's a great story.
Yeah, no, I mean I think Nicholson's pretty much open about his past indiscretions. Yeah. I mean, I don't think he cares that much. I mean, I did hear a lot that there was cocaine. There was cocaine use there, but we don't have proof. Yeah. But the performance makes you think there was something to that story.
Yeah.
If you look at Going South, the film we directed before that, apparently they were all on cocaine in that film. They were all completely smacked at their skulls. So yeah, so we have the introduction of a very messed up man, a man who you should not trust with anything, and you give him a job as a caretaker. And that's the big thing, this film compared to the book. The book, the characters are very sympathetic. Have any of you read the book?
Yeah.
I haven't.
Yeah. The character's much more nuanced and sympathetic early on. But I quite like this version I've got of him here, where it's just like a shadow of that person. It's almost like they're not getting into psychological detail, it's just like you get an impression of somebody. It's like they don't need to be the book.
Yeah.
Really. Plus he catch Jack Nicholson, so he can do his own thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a weirdly creepy scene, because you just know something's wrong in that scene. There's something wrong. You know, they're telling them some horrible stuff, but it still feels kind of... Yeah. And the funny thing is, this film has like an hour setup. I mean, most films you get that in 20 minutes, but here they really take their time to set it up, because they don't even get isolated until about the 40 minutes in, really. Because you've got the introduction scene, then you go back to the wife, Wendy and Danny, and then you end up driving up there and you have the walking around scenes. It's slowly building, which I think really helps crank up the tension. You just know something's just not quite right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really love the setup itself. I think some of the best scenes are even on the first hour, and even now that I've seen it over 20 times, I still love the setup, and I'm not just waiting for the best scenes of the film. I still love to watch the setup even after 21 times of seeing it. So.
Yeah, I mean, there is a kind of weird quality to this. It was wonderful. I mean, what's your favourite scenes in the setup?
I mean, I like the beginning because it's so well shot, and I love the music, and also we already mentioned the job interview scene. I think that's good. And then all the stairs that he has when he sees the labyrinth, and then he has the weird stare. I love that one. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the weird things is if you're used to the American version, you get the scene with the doctor, which you don't get another version, and it's an important scene. Cause
that's very strange as well. It's just the way she carries it out. And you get the underlying abuse themes again.
Yeah, it's like she's talking to her and explaining why he was injured and out of school and stuff, and she's saying he was injured 3 months ago and it stopped Jack from drinking. But then when he talks about the incident, it's 3 years ago. He says it's 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, something's not gelling at all. There's just very strange, and it's like, if it's 3 years ago, he was a very small child. It's so much worse suddenly.
Yeah.
It's really like, holy shit. When was a kid like 2 when he did that to it? Like, what the hell? It's just a brutal. So yeah, no, it's a creepy as hell scene. Just something's off, and the way Wendy reacts, it's almost like she's in an abusive relationship and she knows it. Like, she knows this is not going to go well.
She's trying to cover up with him with like the 3 months ago. So it's like a thing.
Yeah. And now he's stopped. drinking apparently, but
And you can tell it's on everyone's minds at all the points where like the family scenes. It's just the giant elephant in the room.
yeah, it's just that something's not working here. This marriage is going south fast, and he's trying to do his best there. He's trying to do it, but he can't do it, and he's so condescending to her, and he so hates her. You just tell he hates her. He thinks being stuck with her is the worst fate in the world, which is funny because she does all the work.
Yeah,
he does nothing. She does everything for him. It's like
she like offers to like make him a sandwich and like come back and read his work and everything, and he just tears her down completely.
Yeah, she's completely decent to him. She's decent to Danny. She's nice the whole way through the film. She does not deserve that guy.
Yeah,
it makes it funnier when he goes wrong.
But in some ways, it's still her own fault for not like getting out as soon as like that stuff happened in the past.
I know you can blame her for not getting out, but you also can see the psychologist. She's trapped. She's trapped. She's a bit too nice for her own good.
Yeah,
she's a bit weak, and she's a bit too impressed by him. She thinks he's going to make it. She thinks he's going to do something. And
hopeful she shouldn't be.
Oh, it's so wrong. One of the big things the build-up I quite like is how when Danny's talking to Halloran.
Yeah.
Where for Kubrick, who's always accused of being cold, it's a very warm scene, a very warm relationship between the boy and Halloran. And he does, and he shoots it with warmth. Well, he shoots anything with Danny with warmth. He doesn't really shoot it coldly. Because it's almost like Danny's the hero of the film. Really.
Yeah.
Like, it makes Danny more the focus of the film than the book ever did.
Yeah, for like an exposition scene, which it pretty much is, there's a lot packed into it that just makes it more than just a plain exposition for like, what does the title mean? What is The Shining? And all that stuff.
Yeah, it's also, you can tell that Danny's intelligent. He's not a dumb kid. He's actually the only person in the hotel when we get to the second half who has a clue what the hell's going on. Even though he's trying to deny it a lot of the time, he's the only one who's kind of ahead of the game. That this is not good. This is like, and you can say it's supernatural, but it's just common sense.
Well, you could say that Halloran's really like the father figure for Danny, since Jack Nicholson fails at that.
Yeah, spectacularly.
He's talking about like ice cream, and he does the Bugs Bunny thing as well. So he's like in the mind of talking to a kid, whereas Jack's like, oh yeah, these cannibals, it's a result of cannibalism.
Yeah, and it's also we destroying the universe, and he doesn't even notice his son seeing a ghost. And he's like, he doesn't care really. Like those twins. I know they're iconic now, but that's a creepy thing in the film. Just those two twins suddenly appearing and just looking at them.
Yeah. And the cuts to their massacred corpses.
I know, and it's just like it is darkly funny as well, even though it's creepy.
Yeah.
It's like kind of really Kubrick's enjoying himself.
Absurdly out of nowhere, but still like a bit creepy.
It's to a kid just doesn't know how to process that. It's just like, the hell am I doing? What's going on?
Yeah.
Which I really like that film it sticks to the emotions of how creepy it is by having the people react differently. Because Wendy reacts differently from Danny, and Danny reacts differently from Jack.
Hysteria. Yeah. Wendy's hysteric. Danny is like kind of suppressed, but also like shocked. You know, like the moment when he like screams and like Jack hears it at the same time when he's in the cupboard, and Jack's just insane.
Yeah. It's a wonderful, and those scenes now with the obvious famous scenes with Danny traveling through the hotel. You've seen the entire hotel, and just creepy, even though you don't know why it's creepy. There's just something. Yeah.
Well, it's the stuff with like the carpet where they have the and then it goes under the soft carpet.
Yeah, apparently that was an accident, but they just thought, "Oh, that's cool. We're using that."
Yeah, and it's one of like the things that makes the scene even better.
Yeah,
we can talk about the use of like Steadicam. It's like the first like film that everyone like knows Steadicam from. Like it's the one that made it famous. Even though I forget it was Bound for Glory, that was the first. But
yeah, I mean, they used it in a lot of films. They used it in Rocky, they used it in Exorcist 2. They used it in quite a few different films, but no one used it that way. No one just used it as, we're shooting all the scenes with it.
Yeah, to the point where people do think this was the first use of it, like ever.
Yeah, because I get it used as part of the storytelling. It was like, that was part of the atmosphere, that was part of the scare, this moving camera, always following, always checking in on people. And even that thing also is moving through this landscape, it's full of sunlight for so much of it. It's just blaring through the windows, and it's just somehow it's just off.
Yeah, it's so you can imagine the amount of power they had to do in the studio to get that.
Well, the set burned down at the end.
Yeah. And there's the photo of Kubrick just laughing
Yeah. Well, I think they did shot most of it at that point. Was just I think they'd shot out the main set anyway when it burnt down, so it just had to rebuild a couple of smaller bits.
And they did such a good job with the maze that everyone kept getting lost in it.
I know. The
maps. Yeah. And you see the behind the scenes, they have a walkie-talkie.
Yeah. Apparently Kubrick loved that. Apparently every time he heard of someone getting lost, he was laughing his head off.
Yeah.
Because it's
apparently there was a story where he got lost and he was quietly saying down the mic, so he wasn't getting embarrassed.
Yeah, I know. I think everybody got lost sometime in that maze. But as SJS said, that shot of the maze where Jack was looking down on it.
Yeah.
That's so amazing.
It's so well done as well.
Yeah.
It's seamless.
Yeah. Because even now, even though I know how it was done, you can't spot the trick because they shot it so well when they got the. But it's very clever how they shot it and lit it so that you couldn't tell. And it's funny because that shot's the time where Jack actually goes insane. When you look down, you actually look back. That's when he starts to click over. There's something.
And there's the famous stare out the window.
Yeah, I know. And when he's bouncing the ball.
Yeah.
Really violently.
I know, because apparently that was Jack Nicholson's idea, because he says when he's ever in a massive room like that, he just wants to throw a ball around or something. And he said that to Kubrick. It's just a passing thing. And Kubrick was like, yeah, that could be quite cool. And he just did it. So for someone who's meant to be so controlling, Kubrick could spot a good idea a mile away and just say, yeah, we're doing that. Let's do that.
And I think thing that would make it definitely Kubrick, instead of just getting a Steadicam and making the DP learn how to use it, he gets the guy who invented the Steadicam to come and do it.
Yeah.
So that's best possible quality.
Yeah, I know, but it's also apparently the guy loved that because he figured out the entirety of the rig by doing it. By the time he finished that film, he knew exactly how to run that rig.
The best exercise, massive sets, and
And they worked it all out how to switch it around so they could go low shots as well with it.
Yeah. And I guess he would have had to use it for a lot more slow scenes, which I'm not sure it was used too often for before.
Yeah.
It's just normally it's for running and just people walking. Or for the slow down, the little bike. Yeah,
it's wonderful. Things nowadays you can buy for digicam, you can actually buy little rigs you can put on yourself and walk around with. So I've got one of those, and it's it used to be a massive rig, and now it's just something. Because of advances, you actually can get a kind of Steadicam. It's not as good as the Steadicam, but it's still something. Even little skateboard rigs and stuff as well now that it puts that to shame. But at the time, it was amazing. It still really works.
Yeah, and it's still. I think it's still quite impressive how big the cameras were then. If you watch the behind the scenes, he's holding a. It doesn't look too bad.
Yeah. No, not compared to something with the when they used to do the tracking shots in Paths of Glory, they had massive cameras there.
Yeah. It's a trend.
Yeah, it's how the hell did you do that? That's that would kill people. Try to do that. But Kubrick was actually always ahead of technology. He always went with technology, in Clockwork Orange, he was shooting with little 16mm cameras sometimes for certain things. Because he wanted the speed and momentum of the actors rather than being too polished. So he always moved with what the other people were doing. Really.
Yeah.
But I think because the horror movie needed a kind of production polish a little bit just to make the creepiness pop out. But the middle part of the film is when you start to get into full Jack Nicholson mode, full crazy. This is where SJS will start quoting the film, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the scene when Jack is sitting at the table and typing the papers, and then Wendy comes there, and then Jack loses his shit, and then you're breaking my concentration, and that stuff I really loved.
Yeah, again, that was meant to be something Jack Nicholson brought into it because he used to be a writer for Roger Corman. And he said his wife used to come in when he was writing and they used to irritate him. And he lost his temper there once. And he told Kubrick about it. And Kubrick says, yeah, let's do that. Let's actually do that as a scene. That's brilliant. So it's based on his experiences of losing his wife once. And it's like, it's such a normal thing if you're working at home to lose it with a family member for something that's actually just a minor thing. But because Nicholson's character's such a prick about his writing, he's so awful to her. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, if someone knows the film well, you have an excuse to like quote it as a joke. If they do something when you're watching, just blame it on the film.
And basically everything Jack Nicholson says in that film can get quoted because it's so funny. It's so darkly funny. It's like a parody of a bad marriage. But it's also kind of creepy the way they do it. It's just something wonderful about that. It's like it works on two levels. It's awful, but it's hilarious. You know. It's exactly saying the things you should never say to a loved one.
Yeah.
Really.
I think some of the greatest scenes is the scale of Wendy doesn't realise how horrible Jack is, so then she finally catches on that he's utterly insane.
Yeah.
Like the other scenes.
Yeah, but that seems like he's horrible to her for no reason. She's just been nice to him, and he's just been absolute.
He's just as horrible in that scene as when he's like saying that he's going to bash her head in. It's like the same level of horribleness.
He must have been loving that part. He probably got a lot of stuff out of his system that he never had a chance to before. It's probably like, I feel a lot better after that film.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I love the scene.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I love the scene when after Jack has gone to the room 237 and then he talks to Wendy after that, and then Wendy says that they should take Danny out the hotel and go, and then Jack says something that, do you want me to work at the gas station again? So I'm just always thinking that what would it be like to go to a gas station where Jack Torrance is working? Like, that would be fucking insane.
Yeah, no, he's just oblivious. He's so selfish. He's so completely selfish in every possible way. It's wonderful. It's just so hilarious to watch someone be that awful to people. It's great. He's so condescending the whole way through the film to her. He's so disrespectful in every possible way. And it's just hilarious. Now, I've got one thing I was want to ask people, but know how the thing about all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy? When did you think he started writing that? Because early on, he's stuck and he's doing research. And I had two different theories about this. One, after the point, how when he starts to stare at the window and he's just gone insane.
That's
and he starts to get a manic phase. He's just taken away.
Yeah.
But I've also got this other theory, though, that he thinks he's writing something. And that's what he's actually writing.
Yeah, maybe. I think that. I don't know, both work, but the second one's interesting.
Yeah, because I only got it when I watched it this time. I just thought he actually thinks he's writing something, or he could be at least. There's a possibility he thinks.
Do you think that him psychologically is typing that out, or like the ghosts from the Overlook are making him type it?
No, I think he's just lost it. I think he thinks he's typing something out that's actually good. And
so that's like delusional.
Yeah, because he can't write. He doesn't have the distance from himself to actually write something good. Yeah. But he thinks he's writing something amazing.
I want to know what he thinks he's writing.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
He thinks it's amazing.
Yeah.
But the writing's a metaphor for his denial about himself and how he thinks he's better than everybody, and how the booze is just feeding into it.
Yeah. In his head, he's like pretty prolific because that's a lot of pages for like a couple of weeks.
I know. It's like he's almost at a manic phase where he's not thinking too much, but he's. Yeah.
And he's just been up like all the night tapping away.
I know. It's amazing, like how strange he is. I guess creepy either way. I mean, it could be manic phase doing that, or he thinks he's typing something. But I've also noticed like you do get that thing we're talking about now. How sometimes it's almost like you've seen him how he's projecting himself to people, which has a very bland. He's talking to Wendy to start with. He's talking to her in a very bland way, and then as soon as he becomes almost like you're in his head with what he's like when he's drinking, he's much more expressive and weird and interesting. Like when he's talking to the ghosts at the bar, he's so much more alive than he would be when he's talking to her.
Yeah, I love how narcissistic the delusions are. Like it's just this ballroom party, and it's like, oh yes, you sir, it's all on the house for you.
I know he's
and like some waiter who's below him spills something on his drink, and he gets to act all like above him.
Yeah, he's delusional. And I mean, the scenes with him with any of the ghosts are amazing because they just let him riff and rant and just go, okay, sir. I mean, Joe Turkel as Lloyd the Barman is stunningly funny. Just watching him.
They're both utterly iconic. Like these two bit minor actors who have just seeped into history and pop culture, like Joe Turkel and I forgot the other guy. But Delbert Grady. Philip Stone. Who are obviously Kubrick regulars, aren't they?
Yeah, both of them were used by Kubrick. Kubrick knew they were good, and he knew when to place them into film to get what he needed. But
for me, one of the funniest lines in the film is when Jack Nicholson says, "Ah, yes, the goose soiree."
Yes.
That makes me laugh every time.
Yes, when he's saying, "Let me put down my bourbon and avocats down here."
Yeah.
And how many times have you seen that bathroom being imitated in other films?
Yeah. Just a violent kind of scheme.
I know. It just tells you things are going bad, but also another thing he's talking about how he hurt Danny.
Yeah.
He would never hurt a hair in his body.
The Joe Starkweather stuff, like every single line, it's just gold, like quotable.
I heard him once. Okay, it was an accident, totally unintentional.
Yeah.
Little fuck sprinkled my papers all over the floor. Grabbed it.
I think the books get a lot of that dialogue in there. I think they took a lot of it from the books. That one, because a lot of the film doesn't take much from the book dialogue-wise, but Jack talking to the ghosts.
Yeah.
You do because they just realised it's good dialogue. It's
much more hilarious in the film and the inflection that Nicholson uses.
I know the film is just it's been orchestrated by a master who just is having fun. Like they must have done that for days, but you could tell Nicholson was loving it because he's just really loving the weird inflections.
Just the facial expressions.
Yeah. And it is like talking to someone in a bar who's drunk and you yelled at his family and just it's everyone else's fault but his. It's not. You can
tell that from a drunk's perspective, he thinks he's this elegant, suave, smooth talker.
Yeah.
That plays into the delusions and the fantasies. That's great.
But it's also technically so good because Nicholson knows what he's doing. So he's aware of it at both levels. He knows what he's projecting, but he also knows what the truth is. And it's that sense of this guy who just doesn't get who he is. He just resents everybody for destroying him, even though he's useless.
Yeah. So essentially, we come to the conclusion that The Shining's a tale about a struggling introvert escaping to his delusions.
Yeah. He's just hopeless.
Yeah.
This is wonderful. That's what's wonderful with the film. He's just not very good. But he's a failure, complete failure in life. But it's so funny. It feels so many things you'd love to see in your own life, but you can't.
Yeah.
You know, it's,
I've seen the bar scenes like 50 times probably because I used to rewind the scenes and watch them over and over again. So it's insane.
Yeah, the thing is about, do you remember when we first saw them? I couldn't believe I was hearing some of those scenes. It was like, I can't believe they're saying that. That's just crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing about Kubrick films is sometimes these characters say stuff, you're thinking, they actually someone said that in a film. Holy crap. It's like, it's the same, you know, how George C. Scott and Dr. Strangelove. Some of the stuff he says is astonishing. And how over the top he is. It's just like that same thing of...
He's so over the top. He's like bursting at the seams. It's like, oh, Bucky! And yeah.
I know, it's just... Sometimes Kubrick can really push an actor towards something that's astonishing. Especially if it's like, funny.
He's like... He like... interrupts like the president to like plant cameras on the Russian and everything.
Yeah,
you get like secondhand embarrassment, but at the same time, yeah.
He doesn't care. Yeah. He's into his own thing. That's all that matters.
And even Paths of Glory has some of those moments.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Lolita. Lolita's good at as well. Just that first opening scene with Peter Sellers.
The story. The whole Lolita is about like James Mason's such a like a narcissistic.
Yeah. Yeah, because I actually did when I was a film student. I wrote my degree was actually about Lolita and The Shining.
Yeah,
because they were linked. I thought they were very linked. I can't remember what I wrote about it, but I just thought these two are linked. These are similar films.
Disturbing, perverse undertones.
Yeah, well, Kubrick did a lot of films about families as he got older. I mean, look at Clockwork Orange is about a guy who comes from a bad family who doesn't love him. Yeah. Barry Lyndon's escaping from a traditional family, trying to make way in the world, and ending up back to the family. The Shining's about destruction of a family. Eyes Wide Shut's about a family, and
even the soldiers like connections in Full Metal Jacket. You could like argue.
Yeah, there's a family theme coming through a lot of Kubrick films. He's always interested in that dynamic and what it does to people. But yeah, I always wondered what Kubrick's wife thought of that film, The Shining. It's like, it's so brutal with marriage.
With Lolita, when he makes Lolita like a couple of years after he like adopts this new like stepdaughter and like marries his wife. So I wonder what they thought then.
Yeah, it's like he's a dark sense of humor. So yeah, anyway, The Shining. So basically, the second half is Nicholson going mad, slowly but surely, and you have the creepy scene in the bath when the scene he goes to the room, and the woman turns into a old hag, which is a big joke about what he expects from women and what actually happens as he age, and he's just like things he's denying about life. It just comes and just slaps him in the face, and it's like he's just so delusional. It's hilarious. It's so fun to see how delusional he is.
The reveal of that's amazing. Just the hand in the mirror, and he looks. He slowly realizes
what he's doing.
Yeah,
he never saw anything there, nothing there. So he's completely delusional. It's almost like whatever happened when he was drunk in the past, it didn't happen. Yeah. He treats the ghost the same way. Like it's just been drunkenness. He just treats them both the same level of that happened. I don't want to think about it too much. But yeah, but of course we have to get to the scene where finally he snaps and he wants to beat his wife in. You know, it's just like also the thing is, know how early on the scene before Danny comes in with the bruise and she did this to him. You also that scene where he just talks about this dream about cutting his wife up into little pieces and his family, and it's like it's so funny. It's so darkly funny, and it's like, why is this so funny?
It's been like a couple months and I've seen it, but like Danny's injury, is it like self-inflicted? Is it like who do you think did it? Does the film reveal?
I just assumed Jack had blanked out.
Yeah.
I just think it's him. It has to be him. Or a
Well, I
ghost.
think it's good because like whichever if you're subscribing to that, it's all ghosts or it's all psychological and it's Jack Nicholson. You can go either way. So,
Yeah.
yes,
I think it works well.
It.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a funny scene though, talking about this thing, and it matches up to what happens to Danny there. It's like almost he punched at his kid or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's but that scene with Wendy when she actually sees what he's written, and then he starts to see he's going to kill her basically. You've had your whole life to think things over. What's a few more minutes going to do to you now? It's like, oh my god, you shouldn't be saying that.
Yeah.
Do you have a slightest idea what an ethical and moral principle is, do you?
Which is funny coming from him, who doesn't at all.
Yeah. He wants to kill his wife and child, and he's talking about ethical and moral principles. So.
Yeah.
That's that perfect dark humor.
Yeah. That's pure Kubrick. That's the level of Dr. Strangelove logic.
Yeah. The post irony.
Yeah. It's just. I think that's a scene I've watched so many times. That one scene because it's so funny and so dark.
Yeah,
at the same time.
that scene and the bar scenes.
It's just so quotable, and it's like
Yeah,
I should enjoy this as much as I do. Maybe it says something bad about me, but it's so enjoyable to watch this. This is just wrong, but right.
It's just so funny.
I know.
Yeah, I can quote the whole thing basically. So
That's not a surprise at all.
Do you have a favorite quote, like a line?
I mean, the ethical and moral principle thing that I already mentioned, that's one of my favorites. Definitely. And all the things that he says that he needs to respect his employers and stuff like that. I love that.
Yeah, that's so absurd.
Sign the contracts.
Yeah. But the funny thing is, I noticed as watching it again, is from his point of view, he could argue she hit him first. Because she's one with the bat, and he's like, don't swing the bat at me. And she hits him in the head and he falls down the stairs. So he could argue, well, she provoked me, she attacked me first.
It's a perfect...
Which is a weird logic, but it's just a way bad marriages go.
It's a perfect twist on like film grammar, because usually someone who's shown at the top is more powerful. But Jack Nicholson's so menacing, he chases her up the stairs. And like normally she would be in power, but Jack Nicholson holds it all, even though he's like lowered down.
Yeah, but the thing is, then he just blows it, and even though she's not that strong, she does get him in the head, and it's just darkly funny. He just flops down, and is like.
He flops down, but he does like a whole twist at the
I know, it's just like there's a real grace to his like physicality in that.
Like Buster Keaton or something.
That's what I was thinking of, Buster Keaton, that kind of grace he has, and
but I love the things that he does with his hands, and are you concerned about me?
Yeah. It's just the don't swing the bat, Wendy.
Oh yeah, the grab,
Yeah. Wendy, don't swing the bat.
Darling, light of my life.
Yeah, that's so funny. That
Wendy, it goes like this. Wendy, darling, light of my life. I know the hand gestures even. So, yeah.
Or the I was going to say the scene when he gets trapped in the freezer.
I know
what he's doing. So the gestures there, and he's like, he's like doing that on the door and stuff like that.
Yeah, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
He's just like,
go check out the Snowcat and see what I mean. Go check it out.
I know it's like he should be trying to convince her that she's made a mistake, but he doesn't care anymore. It's like, no, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you.
When he is trying to convince her, he does it so like poorly. He's like, Wendy, I'm home. I'm dizzy.
Yeah,
you hurt my head real bad.
And he plays on like the doctor thing that he was like putting down like a couple scenes ago.
The thing is, I'm sure the short scenes where he did it well.
Yeah.
But obviously the scenes where he did it badly was actually funnier. Just watch him fail at it, because he feels everything in life. It's just like it's amazing how such a character who's so iconic is such a failure. I mean, look up in the film, which is a very Kubrick thing, really. Because I mean, if you look at Alex and Clockwork Orange, he's a bit of a failure ultimately. He's compromised.
The ultimate downfall story.
Yeah, I know. It's like Kubrick likes failures.
Tom Cruise and Eyes Wide Shut is so incompetent.
I know. I know. Look at Matthew Modine in Full Metal Jacket. He's not very good at being his job at all. He's just trying to survive.
Yeah, I think he's possibly on that like the better end, but he's still yeah.
Mankind in basically 2001 or Doctor Strangelove. Basically, all of Mankind are failures in those two films. Were pathetic failures.
Even like a studio film like Spartacus, like he still fails in the revolution.
I know. It's like, the killing, they fail. As high as maybe they fail.
Yeah.
And Kirk Douglas in Paths of Glory as well.
Yeah,
because he can't save the people. So.
Well, later,
Fear and Desire. We want to go that far back.
Yeah, fail again. It fails every film.
What about Killer's Kiss? I don't remember.
They kind of get away with it, but it doesn't really matter because Kubrick doesn't care. He just I did some cool shots in this film. But
the axe stuff. Anakin's cool. Oh, there's an axe there as well. Foreshadowing.
Yeah. So failure. Kubrick loves failures. He loves his failures. But yeah, that scene is hilarious. The scene in where he's locked in, where he just does not care about trying to.
Like Kubrick's improvisation. If you watch the behind the scenes thing, he does it on the spot. He's like, "Why don't we just try it from below?" And there's like him actually doing it and stuff.
Yeah,
you actually see like it's great. That documentary is really great. Like the 30 minutes thing, because it's the actual scene from the film that they got the footage of, like that particular take.
Yeah, because he just thinks, "Oh, try that. Why not? Let's see what happens." It's like he still had an experiment to actually.
You got like Kubrick with a camera, and there's the one guy with the little light, which makes it even more humbling.
Yeah.
But now it's one of the most iconic scenes in cinema, and it was just like a on the day thing.
Yeah. Which was also quite good. He still improvised, even though he was doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I remember the scene Full Metal Jacket, they get stuck at one scene because they couldn't find a way to get from one place to the other. When they actually looked at the location, it was like, how the hell did we get from there to there? And that was one of the biggest problems they ever had in that film, was like trying to get across one bit of land because they couldn't logically work it out. So he's still always thinking, because you could cheat it, but let's try and find a logical way to do it. And it was like, took forever.
Another thing you could say about like Kubrick films, like we've explained, they're kind of films of two halves. Like Full Metal Jacket, you got the training, and then you got the war. And then Clockwork Orange, you got like the stuff at the beginning that everyone knows, and then you got the conformity stuff. Yeah.
And this one, you've got the supernatural in the first half, creepiness, then the complete failure of Jack Nicholson's character in the second half.
Yeah.
He can't follow through in the threat. It makes it perfect.
What do you think of Shelley Duvall's performance? Is it too much for you, or do you think it's just right?
I think it's just right for me.
Yeah. She's utterly like hysteric by the end, like completely tortured. Yeah.
I think it's really good. I think it's really good, but after seeing the film so many times, it can get a bit annoying. But I don't mind it; it's good still.
Yeah, but she's the only kind of human figure, really, ultimately, because she's the only one who has emotions and things.
She understands the real world.
Yeah,
Stanley's a child. Scottman Crover's kind of an outcast.
Yeah, and she's trying to protect her child, but she's completely unqualified for it. She's not ready for this at all. And she just gets through it through basic luck. I mean, she tries to think her way through, but she's not that good. But also the thing is, know how he gets out. When I say, well, that has to be ghosts.
Yeah.
You think how hysterical she is. Did she actually lock him up properly?
Yeah.
She'd do it. But did she mess up in some way? We didn't see that. That's still a kind of thing you could argue. That maybe she was so hysterical she didn't look properly.
Like, if you get into theories or whatever, but like, Danny blacked out again and opened it up as Tony or something.
Yeah.
If you want to go the logical, there's no ghosts.
Yeah. There's various ways. Either she messed up or he blacked out.
That's
and Danny's still trying to deal with his father being this way.
That's the great thing about the film. Like, he leaves it open to like the psychological or the supernatural. You can go either way.
But we also have Philip Stone taunting Jack Nicholson, saying some of us don't think you have it in you.
It's
so funny. It's like, have you ever seen a character being taunted so badly by a supporting character in a film? It's just so brutal.
Wendy like fails to get out the window, which I know is an emotional scene, but thinking back on it, it's quite funny that she can't even get out the window.
I know. But it's quite nice seeing Danny from down the side of it. It was quite interesting to watch.
When I was younger, oh, that looks fun.
Yeah. But we do get to the iconic scene, the big scene, where Jack Nicholson actually comes from the axe.
Yeah.
And he hears Johnny thing.
I think
I love the thing that he says before that. So little pigs that may come in.
Yeah.
Here by your chinny chin chin, and then I'll blow your house in.
Yeah, that's way better.
Love that shit.
Like talking to people in real life, like they don't actually know like what the "Here's Johnny" thing is a reference to, which is strange. They figure because it's the Johnny Carson show, isn't it?
Yeah. But now that's more iconic than the Johnny Carson show.
Yeah. Because people are not going to know what that is, like casual watchers.
Yeah. It's like, it's a Shining line.
Yeah.
That's what it is now. It's not a reference, it's a Shining line. Even though it's a reference. But, I mean, a more traditional movie would have had him say nothing and just come in as if he's a scary character.
Screaming.
Or Terminator style, just walk in, no emotion.
Yeah.
But this is what he thinks is cool. This is him in his big moment. And Kubrick is having a ball. Even though he fails again.
Yeah. And the scenes where he's chopping the door down, like I like how the camera like moves with it, the axe. Like
and I like that shot, how you're inside the thing and you see the axe coming towards you and it knocks the wood flying at you.
Yeah.
That's a really cool.
Like, speaking of references, that's like kind of a redoing of like the scene from The Phantom Carriage, so you can go in and like see the influences.
I've never actually seen The Phantom Carriage yet. It's the one film I should have seen that I have not seen. It's one of those ones that's like the shameful list of films that I should have seen but haven't. Everyone else has seen it but me.
Save it for New Year's Eve. This one. So.
Yeah. So we get to the bit where Wendy finally starts to see the ghosts.
Yeah.
She wanders through the thing and she gets to see the iconic scene of the blood coming from the.
Oh yeah.
That freaked me out when I first saw it. I was just weirdly creepy. I had no idea why it was creepy. Just creepy.
I think it's because you couldn't possibly imagine that there would be that much blood coming out. Like, how would it even fit? And yeah. Apparently,
it didn't forever to do that one because I had to keep on getting the consistency right, and it took a while to work it all out. But just as an image, it's just an amazing image. It's just one of those things.
How the blood doesn't stop; it like actually comes and on the screen of the camera, and you can see it slapped against.
Yeah, no subtlety at all. But it's such a great image. It's just one of those images.
Yeah,
it makes no sense, but it's wonderful.
But I think in the back of your mind, you're like, "Oh, this is the blood of the hotel. Everyone there has ever like died." And,
yeah. But it's not specific. It's just something wonderfully ambiguous about it. The kind of thing that David Lynch learned from that most other people didn't learn from.
And that's a great use. He uses it in the teaser trailer that he made, like the little 30-second.
Yeah.
Just.
Yeah, there's that's
the sound outside as well.
Yeah. I think something like David Lynch has learned from something like The Shining that way a lot of directors have, and they just go for the obvious, let's try to imitate Jack Nicholson. David Lynch went really more for there's something ambiguous with all this stuff, that's what you learn from it.
Just
try and copy it.
The out of nowhere absurd imagery of like a guy in a bear mask or whatever.
Yeah.
Or like almost comical delivery of great party, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's got like a massive gash in his head.
Yeah. It's also the thing is, when you see the guy in the bear costume, you can see his backside through the thing that's open as well. It's,
like a little slot.
Yeah. It's like, it's not ambiguous what was suggested there. There's no ambiguity, but it just is wonderful. It's also really funny.
When I first watched it, I'd be like, I don't really understand what that is. I'm sure I'll understand it when I'm older. And I still have no idea what
Yeah. Well, use your imagination. You can figure it out, I think.
I know how to interpret that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So we finally get to the maze. You get Halloween killed, which actually shocked the hell out of me when I first saw it, because you expect Halloween. He spends the half of the movie trying to get there, and he gets killed instantly.
Instantly. Doesn't even get like a stop, and you get like an axe confrontation.
No, he just dies like straight away. He does save them by being there.
The snowcat,
but...
And Nicholson's really well positioned behind that one pillar. Like,
I know.
Don't expect it to be like there.
You're waiting for it to happen, and then he keeps on moving forward, and it's like you're looking at the pillars. It's like the hell is he?
And you have that music when he kills him, and then he does that crazy facial expression again. Jack, I mean,
yeah.
When he just comes from the floor,
Yeah.
Apparently they axed him like so many times that like Scott Cromer's like broke down in tears. You have to do that again, get the right like jerking and body motion.
Yeah. Otherwise, it was worth it. It would look great.
Yeah. And again, the music, like really, like the clicking.
And finally, Jack got to kill somebody. I mean, finally, he managed to not be incompetent.
Yeah.
He was an old man,
an old man, and then he still gets tricked by a little child.
I know, it's great. That's so funny. That's a great scene, though. Just him going through the maze.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, like the Scott Muncrover scene earlier, like it's showing that Danny's smart. So like Danny later on is smart and covers up his footprints.
Yeah,
like,
And I like another thing. Red rum thing comes in. They race red rum at the moment when Jack Nicholson has escaped. It's like, okay, here we go. This is a murder scene. Come on. It's obviously telling his mum, try and keep up, will you? He's going to come and kill us. Like, can't you figure this out? Yeah.
Danny, like, the shot of Danny in like the dark, just as happens when he gets axed. That adds to it as well.
Yeah. It's also the thing is, I like the creepy bit earlier on where Danny goes catatonic for a bit.
Yeah.
It's great. It's really creepy. Danny's not here anymore. It's like he is suppressing so much. It's like he cannot take this anymore. And it's like, what the hell's going on? It's almost like kids try to work out why does she not get it? What's the matter with her? He's obviously insane. Yeah. He's also disturbed with the fact that his dad's going up to insane.
I think the scariest scene in The Shining is the scene when he's Jack's like Danny comes into Jack sitting in the bed and he like gets him to sit on his lap.
Yeah. It's so creepy though. I want to stay here forever and ever. I would never hurt you. You know that.
And he's like stroking his hair.
I know it's creepy. It's really weird, and again, that's what Kubrick's so good at, is those kind of scenes where you're thinking, no director would do this nowadays. No director would actually have the guts to do that, but it's just wonderful.
It's not too subtle. It's like the subtext and the underlying what he's trying to convey there.
No subtlety whatsoever, but wonderful. Well, actually, there is subtlety. It's just it's so bold. Kubrick's a bold director. He doesn't really. He's not scared of having something in your face, but also because he's such a good director, they keep a lot of subtext below it that you may not notice. You will notice the second time round.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of the stuff is people still watch and try to work out when did Jack go mad? When exactly did he go mad? And what does this mean? What does that mean? Because it's enjoyable to watch, but you also try to work it out because there's so many things that don't quite click together, but do feel that they work.
The traditional film, him going mad would be like a shot of him picking up the axe.
Yeah.
And then he'd like walk. But no. He's mad even before that.
Yeah, and this is why he went mad. We'd have an explanation scene of this is why he went mad, rather than just having lots of scenes suggesting things. They don't have to all come together in a one explanation. It's like you have to figure out yourself why you went mad.
He'd be like sucking out the dry bottles at the bar or something.
Oh, it's just such a hilariously dark film. And it's still creepy, but it's so funny. It's such a funny film. It's like, I think it always amazes me about it is just how funny it is.
Yeah, I think it's the strong contrast between atmosphere and hilarious, which makes it. I think it's one of the funniest films like ever. Just because of the harsh contrast.
Yeah, because it does have themes. It actually has real serious themes about family abuse and what goes on within families.
Yeah, because that's what elevates the real good horror films is the themes. I think it's a hard genre to like say this is really effective because so you got stuff like I don't know, The Exorcist, where they have the themes of like the evil on the little child and stuff like that. But yeah, like the stuff The Shining, they have a deep theme. You could say, oh, this is why it's so brilliant.
Yeah, well, I think the horror, it's because it ties so much to emotion, your nightmares.
Yeah,
that it actually makes it a genre I like, but also it makes a genre it's easy for directors to be lazy with.
Yeah, I think like with comedy, there's two opposite ends of the spectrum. Like if you're gonna have like a comedy or a horror film that's like your favorite film, like they would have to be films that have deeper themes. So like with comedy, obviously you can say loads of stuff. Like and then with horror, it would also have to deal with certain themes, which is why because they're genres that are manufactured on emotions, like two emotions.
Yeah, or this film reminds me of both horror and comedy. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
But it's I think horror is a kind of weird one. Even though I'm a big fan of it, I know there's so many that are trash.
Yeah,
total trash. But
overwhelming amount of numbers.
But I still love even some of the trashy ones. I still love. I mean, I watched Tremors Shrieker Island recently, and it's like it's not very good, but I still enjoyed it. Yeah, it's a weird genre, but I really enjoy it. But Shining is something special.
Something else.
Yeah.
But I think most people see it as a pure horror film, and I think you have to have a very particular sense of humor to get the humor in this film.
Yeah, I think also as people watch it, don't quite know why they're disturbed, but they are disturbed. It kind of works a bit. Not really Blue Velvet works as there's a story. There's also a lot of weird subtext you might not want to go into too deeply, but it's all there, and you kind of know it's all there. And it's like, how brave are you going to be? How brave are you going to look into some of this stuff? Because David Lynch has put it there specifically to disturb you.
I actually just rewatched Blue Velvet a few days ago, so I watched both The Shining and Blue Velvet this week. So.
Perfect.
That's preparation.
Yeah.
What shot you watched Blue Velvet again? That's astonishing. I would never have guessed that.
With your mother as well, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a bit awkward, yeah.
Really? That's kind of
the prank.
Yeah, but I think David Lynch took away from The Shining and some of the other Kubrick films, stuff people didn't, was that you do need something under the surface of, because he deals a lot with horror. It's not quite horror in the normal sense, but for me, he makes the few films that are actually scary. Like, most directors don't do scary films. He does.
He must be like letting on more than he knows as far as his influences, because he's like, I don't watch films, and obviously he loves Lolita, but you never hear him talk about The Shining. So he must.
No, he's
could be an actor, but
No, but he said he's a big Kubrick fan. He likes The Shining too. I think he just he admits to Kubrick's influence. It's just like But yeah, but I think he took the right lessons from him, really. Because I mean, you look at something like Mulholland Drive or Lost Highway, you can't say that's not Kubrick influenced.
He's still continuing to use it, like in The Return. I think I can see loads of The Shining in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Return's still something amazing. Return is just stunning. It's one of those things I'm trying to even not watch it again too quickly so I can watch it and enjoy it again. But I don't use it up too quickly, so I'm trying.
And I think when you're not watching it, you forget how much of it there is. It's like so many hours, which is great, of course.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna watch that in like a normal like week where you have to like go to stuff and that's your evening gone.
Yeah, I know, because I remember they did the first 4 episodes released together, and that felt like an epic in itself. It was like, just give me the rest now. Put it straight into my veins. Come on, quick, give me the rest. So that was a little detour.
Yeah, I mean, Lynch and Kubrick aren't bad things to discuss.
2 of my favorite directors.
Yeah, 2 are great.
Yeah, they're wonderful. I need to watch more Lynch films again, because I've got them all. I just need to watch them again. But I think some directors you have to be in the right mood for certain directors at a certain time. I mean, you just have to kind of figure out when it's the right time for them.
I mean, I always have Lynch in my mind, and I always want to watch his films, but I need to contain myself and not just watch them all the time.
And you don't want to have like no nights of sleep if you watch Firewalk.
Yeah, I can't watch Twin Peaks. It freaks me out too much.
The Firewalk, that's on the cinema.
That's another.
Come out, and
I couldn't see it in the cinema.
That's another.
I would get a heart attack.
The greatest horror films, but people don't really call it horror films for some reason.
The Firewalk with me is terrifying. I mean, I didn't know what was coming at all when I saw it in the cinema, because this was before you knew it was dark. We just heard.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a disappointment for some people. That's all I knew, and to see it, and it was like, oh my god, I feel like I've just been punched in the face repeatedly.
I mean, the show was dark from the 90s, but when you get into the film, you have no idea what's coming.
I know, which is funny because The Return came out, and it was very much an extension of the film and the show. But people were used to it at that point, so they were fine.
Again, I guess kind of like in disservice to Lynch, you're probably thinking it's going to be like all the other Return shows, like, oh, they're bringing back this. Like, oh, they're bringing back the X-Files. But no, the Return is something else.
Yeah, The Return is, your lead character doesn't show up till like 2 episodes before the end. Instead, the actor's playing a villain.
Yeah. And he does weird detour episodes like about a nuclear bomb and we got a light and all that.
That's great. So good.
You start your series with Matthew Lillard. Just expectations,
I know. That's so weird, but it worked. Again, it worked.
Yeah, no, it was great.
Yeah.
And the dog is as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway. Back to... I guess we should talk about, like, what do you think of its use in Ready Player One? Like, that's a pretty significant part of that film.
It's just a fanboy thing. That was it.
Yeah.
I mean, you two could talk about Doctor Sleep because you two have seen it. So.
I absolutely dislike it, and I think you like it, right?
Yeah, I like it, yeah.
Okay.
So, it's just, the thing is, I didn't really see it. It's connected to The Shining, but it is a follow-up, but it's not really The Shining, so I never really had the Kubrick thing over it. It was just like...
I would have been more fine if it wasn't for the last, when they go back to that overlook. That was just horrible to me. Like, they're like replaying all the beats, like, oh, this is the scene where Jack stood up on the stairs. When in fact, that's just a scene that they've decided to film on the day or whatever. It just felt nauseating, and then they bring back all the CGI ghosts and everything. Yeah.
I was fine with it. The thing is, I see The Shining as something in itself. This is just a film like 2010 was, where I can enjoy the film, but it doesn't really impact my view of The Shining. So I don't really care. I enjoy the film as a film, but it didn't really affect me in any possible way connected to Shining. So I'm fine enjoying it. I enjoyed the film, but it's not really a big deal and that stuff. But I liked the stuff before it went back to the Overlook more than in the end, really.
Yeah, I think there was some interesting stuff in there.
Yeah.
For me, it was maybe I'm just too attached to The Shining. I think that's the problem.
Yeah, but it was going there though. It was been so fanboyish about it. But I liked that bit on like Ready Player One thing, where Ready Player One was just fanboy. That was it.
Yeah,
all it was. There was nothing to it.
They turn not like the old lady. She just like turns into giant. She's got an axe, and she's like, yeah, very.
It was just silly, but I wouldn't mind it either. It was just one of those things like I just know to separate Kubrick from many influences of him. I just don't care that much, so
yeah,
it doesn't really bother me because I like Kubrick. So there you go.
Yeah.
I'm sure Isaac will force me to watch it in Folgers, so.
I thought you said you were going to refuse to.
Yeah, but maybe.
I've recommended it already.
Yeah.
So, but he has to watch stuff to recommend it to you, doesn't he? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, do you have episodes planned at all?
We got one.
Yeah, we know what we are gonna do, but he just hasn't watched the films.
Yeah. Well, I can't say anything because I've got a bunch of films I need to watch as well. It's just one of those things. So, sometimes those months where you don't watch stuff you plan on watching.
When you've got 14 films still to go.
16. It's 16.
Bloody 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's more than me. That's way more than me.
What? Some are like 3 hours long.
Okay. No, I've just got some obscure Japanese horror films to watch. Nothing. I've got like 4 or 5. It's not like that. Well, good luck with that one.
Come Christmas, I'll be ready.
All right.
I'll try and watch them next month.
All right.
Yeah, straight after October. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm ending our friendship otherwise.
Yeah. So, any other final thoughts on The Shining?
Maybe we could just all do individual sum ups or something. Yeah, just sum up our thoughts or something.
I'll let you go first then.
Yeah, you introduced.
Yeah, so for me, this was the film that really made me fall in love with cinema. It was one of the first kind of serious films that really got me interested in filmmaking more, and it's one of the films that I've seen the most times in my life, like 21 times now. I usually watch it 3 or 4 times a year, and yeah, Jack Nicholson's performance is my favorite performance of all time. He just makes me laugh, and he used to disturb me as well, but not anymore. And I obviously love the cinematography and the use of Steadicam, like we talked about. And yeah, it's just a great film. Always gives me a smirk, and I just enjoy watching it, even without analyzing every detail. Like some people think that you have to analyze all the shirts and all the paintings and everything, but I don't think that's necessary to enjoy it.
Isaac?
Okay, I'll go. Yeah, a lot of the points we've touched on, you touched on. It's one of, like you, it's one of the great films that I saw from a young age and always loved. Seen it countless times, like you. Jack Nicholson, every motion that he does in the film is ingrained in my brain. Every facial expression and dialogue. Not to the extent of you though, but just how it works on both levels, the psychological level, the supernatural level, how it's put together. It's a slow burn, but it still delivers. You're not wanting to skip scenes. Every scene works. Just the fact that you can analyze the moon landing and loads of other things and get out this random little film from the 80s. It's just a testament to the detail put into it.
Okay, yes, and me then. I just found it. I first saw it before I really knew Kubrick. It was one of the first ones I watched of his. I saw that in Doctor Strangelove and 2001, fairly close together. And then I went out from there. But I just thought it was a really creepy film. First time I saw it, I mean, just beyond the reputation of Kubrick, there was just something creepy about the first half of the movie, and even in the second half when it got funnier, there's still just so much wonderful character stuff there, and there's just something about it that's hard to pin down, which is why I think people watch it all the time. It's just something about it that you can't quite put your finger on. I think it's a mark of a really great film, you know. So that's it for me. So we've actually been going for an hour and a half now. So I'm going to kill the podcast now because I don't think anyone will actually get through all of this. So thanks for coming on to my podcast to do this. It's very much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you.
And we hope you enjoy our little Halloween treat. Right, bye for now.
Bye.